So let's talk about hockey at the Asian Games and what chance does India have to win a gold there? And who better to talk about this than Sandeep, who is at Hangzhou already. Sandeep, Harmanpreet is our flag bearer, and a lot rides on him as India takes on and picks up tempo in this Asian Games in this edition. What are the realistic chances that Indian hockey has of landing a gold here?
Well, honestly, I mean, it's a 90 to 10. And the 10% chance also, I feel, is is not there in a sense that we are, we should be picking up the goal. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you look at the performance in the Asian Champions Trophy, which happened in Chennai, even though you had a close final. But the important part was that 3-1 down in the final against Malaysia, they came back and won the game. That is a new thing. Not a new thing in a way that, but it doesn't happen often. With the Indian team, if you're 3-1 down, you normally kind of go and crash out. But they won that game. But take that tournament apart, I think a lot rides on Harmanpreet. A lot simply because he was the captain at the last World Cup, and I think a lot was expected from him. Now, whether he took that pressure or probably that pressure and did make him one of the top scorers. I mean, when you have somebody like him in a penalty corner striking position, you do expect 6 to 7 goals because that is the normal. That is the normal for any PC flicker to be able to come up with if his team wants to go on and win the title. You look at Germany. The only reason they win titles is because their PC flickers also come of age. The only reason why Holland used to win it in the past was because PC flickers come and score 6, 7, 8 goals. I think Asian Games being a two-match tournament, it's the semis and the final. We win the semis, we go to the final. We win the final, we go directly to the Olympic Games. But I think Harman, for him, a lot rides on this tournament simply because he wants to be that captain who takes India to the Olympic, and that also directly. The last time a captain took us directly was Sardar Harman. He was in that same team that went to Rio. We didn't reach a semi-final in Rio, but we definitely reached a semi-final last time, and we picked up a bronze. And I think he would want to continue that. He would want to be in that driver's seat, taking his team and becoming the main player and
Right.
the main
Sandeep,
figure in that team,
can
the
and
most
I spoke,
influential player.
we've had a couple of discussions earlier leading up to the Asian Games on Indian hockey, and we've on the show we had some very fine coaches joining in from Pakistan and elsewhere. We had Harinder, who is currently in the US, also joining in, and they all made a couple of very telling points, saying that Indian hockey has improved dramatically because of the level of training, increased exposure, and the coaches have been very, very good, particularly the new coach. Would you shed some light on the role which you feel the new coach can bring and has already brought into India's style of play?
I think so. I think what he's probably done is he's made the defense a very, very solid unit in a sense. You know, if you really look at the last World Cup, I wouldn't say we really suffered in the defense, but the defense wasn't compact enough to be able to help the midfield, and then the midfield helps the forward line. That's the way a normal game progresses in field hockey. So he understands the effectiveness of a extremely good defense. He's been assistant coach for Belgium at 2 World Cups, and Belgium is a very, very solid team. You will always see if Belgium is at the same level as the opposition. You will invariably see a 1-1, a 2-2. You'll never see a 4-2, a 5-2, a 5-3 match with Belgium because they lay so much emphasis on defense that they won't let you in, but they'll wait for their opportunities and then they will score. I think that's what he's probably telling this particular Indian team that, let's not get into this mood of 6-0, 8-0, 9-0, 6-1, 5-1. You win 1-0, it's good enough because at the end of the day you get those 3 points. But I don't want any goals to be scored at the back, and I think that's where the team is coming into its own. One one very simple pointer was when Surinder lost his place in the Indian team for the Asian Champions Trophy and now for the Asian Games. One of your best and the most dependable defenders, but because he can't fall back, he's taken out, which means huge emphasis on defense. So I think in that way, the coach is playing right. I mean, he's already won a tournament for you, and I think if he wins the Asian Games gold, he takes you directly to the Olympics, which also gives you enough time space. I always believe that if you're going into the Olympic Games and you still got to play a qualifying, it still gets very edgy. But if you go directly from Asia at least, then at least you have that time frame, you have that space, and then you can really start thinking how to be on the podium again, because you have to repeat that Tokyo podium. And more than repeat, I think India would surely be looking at playing an Olympic final at Paris. So I think this Asian Games is hugely important not only for the coach but for the captain and his team.
One of the coaches we had a chat with earlier made this very telling point that India seems to be obsessed, the point that you were making a while earlier about scoring goals quickly. He says, in fact, our tactic often is to wait for the first half to get over to whenever a country is playing against India, to try and analyze what they're trying to do and suss them out and then hit them hard in the second half. Now, you are saying more or less the same thing, that don't be obsessed with this 5-0, 6-0 scoreline. Concentrate on strategy, concentrate on the quick passes. So, do you feel that India? There are 2 points here. One is India is playing on that thought process and strategy, and second is your quick thoughts on the team composition.
I didn't get your second point. I got the first point. What was the second one?
Second point was your thoughts on the team composition.
No, I think the team composition is fine. At the end of the day, if you really ask me, I can only pick on one. I mean, I hate naming players, but I think between Lalit Kumar Upadhyay and Akashdeep, it was pretty equal. I mean, I think in defensive formations, falling back to help the team, and taking the ball, going up ahead, I still feel both the players were very similar in a way, and both were of the same level. So it's a very difficult pick. But my pick, if you really ask me, as somebody who's seen this sport and been watching this team, I think I would have picked Akashdeep, not only because of his um, center forward abilities, but also because of his midfield ability of holding a ball. And I think that becomes important in a semi final and a final in a crunch game where the opposition is just sitting back and trying to absorb most of the attacks that is happening. It happened in the last Asian Games. Again, Harmanpreet would really understand what a lot of people felt when India lost to Malaysia in the semi-finals at the last Asian Games, and he was right in the mix at that point of time. It was a team that never looked defeated, but they went out, and because it's a crunch game, and they just couldn't understand what happened in the last 5 minutes. And coming back to your first point, I think that's exactly what the coach has prepared them for, that if you're going to play a semi and a final, please understand it's not going to be an easy game. No team out there comes to a semi final for you to roll over. They will just come there. They will also understand India, and everybody understands the way we play. I think it's just about how much attacks can lead to goals, and I think with our coach, it's also about how much of the midfield play can you hold so that the ball doesn't go to the opposition. I think the ball not going to the opposition is extremely crucial for India, because if you have more of the ball, then you have more of the movement. You have the team chasing you, and I think that will become very crucial in the semi-final and the finals. I'm putting my hand up and saying a lot of people might be saying, "अरे अभी से semi-final और final की बातें भी हो रही हैं." Yes, it's the Asian Games, and you only come to the Asian Games to play a semi and the final. If you get knocked out before that, you're not worth it. So let's play the semi and then let's see what happens in the final. But hopefully, I'm still saying 90% India goes home with a gold medal from here.
Okay, that's a prediction. And before we close, one controversial point, Sandeep, which is this flag bearer business. Now, in this, we have Ravlina Borgohain, a boxer, and Harmanpreet carrying the flag. And so there's no problem with that. But the thing is that not many players like to do that, not for any unpatriotic reason, but for the fact that yaar hum thak jayenge, or it might take a toll. And there have been some instances in the past, you know better than I, don't want to take any names in case I goof up. But the point is that is this voluntary? Is this thrust upon them? How is this done? And does it take a toll on a player?
Well, I'll take the last point. I don't think there's any toll in this. If a player says, झंडा उड़ाने में मेरे को में थकावट हो गया. What the hell were you preparing on the last 6 to 8 months for? I mean, if you can't do this much for the country, and it's not about the country, it's about honor. And who doesn't want to do that? I mean, like, which player you would say that you're going to be the flag bearer, and he's going to say that no, I got a game tomorrow. I mean, like, hey, hello, you've been preparing for that game. So, 40 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours at the opening ceremony is not going to take the sheen off. So I think for Harman, it's a huge honor for him. For anybody, a lot of people would have said, why not Neeraj Chopra, the Olympic champion, the world champion. But he's not going to be arriving here because athletics begins on the 29th. So I'm
Right.
not saying Harmanpreet is second best or third best. I'm just saying in the mix, I think he's probably your best bet in the sense that he's the guy you wanted to give the honor to. I think it stands there. I mean, tomorrow he's going to play a match. It's a team game at the end of the day. It's a match where seriously all hockey lovers and all hockey fans understand and believe that a hockey player plays with the ball for less than 2 minutes in a match. So for less than 2 minutes in a match, you don't want to be a flag bearer. I don't think Harman is that kind. He would love this, and I think today is a great night for him.
Okay. Jai Hind on that, and thanks, Sandeep.
Thank you.